Take a slow breath in. Allow your attention to settle. Let your thoughts slow slightly. Now imagine you are in a conversation about a proposal that could move forward soon. The discussion has been thoughtful. Questions have been exchanged. Different aspects of the idea have been explored. At one point, you ask a clear question. Perhaps about timing. Perhaps about commitment. Perhaps about whether the other side feels ready to move forward. The other person responds. Their answer is thoughtful, detailed. They explain several related points. The conversation continues, yet something subtle catches your attention. Their response did not quite address the question you asked. Instead, it moved towards a nearby topic. They spoke about the opportunity. They described the value of the idea. But the specific point you raise remains unanswered. You notice the moment carefully. Your mind reflects on what just happened. Sometimes this occurs simply because the conversation moves quickly. But sometimes people respond this way when the original question touches something they are not ready to address directly. Instead of saying no, they redirect the conversation. The discussion continues. But the key point remains slightly out of reach. You pause before reacting. Rather than repeating the question immediately, you acknowledge their response. Then you return gently to the earlier point. You say calmly, "That context is helpful. I'm curious about how your team is thinking about the timing." The question reconnects the conversation to the original topic. This time the response becomes more direct. Perhaps they explain that internal approval is still required. Perhaps other priorities are competing for attention. Perhaps they simply need more time. The hesitation that was hidden earlier begins to appear. You listen carefully. Then you ask another question. What would help make that decision clearer on your side? Now the conversation becomes constructive. Instead of circling around the issue, the discussion turns toward what would allow the decision to move forward. The structure of the situation becomes visible. Take another slow breath. Notice how the moment feels different now. At first, the conversation moved past the question without answering it. But once the topic returned calmly to the center, the meaning behind the hesitation became clearer. You recognize something important about conversations like this. Sometimes the most important signals appear not in what people say, but in what they choose not to answer directly. The person who notices that pattern often understands the situation more clearly than someone who simply moves on to the next